Now I want to fill in the price chart. We're going to put that here, okay? And we're going to use a library to create this chart, all right? It's going to be a candlestick chart. So go back to the Introduction to Exchange part of the bootcamp where I explain how to read a candlestick chart. I'm not going to take a ton of time to re-explain that here. We're going to focus on the code. All right, so remember, a candlestick chart basically just shows you the open, high, low, and close prices on the exchange for a certain period. And yeah, so just go back and check out that video to understand how to read that chart, because we're going to build it in this section. All right, so we're going to use a library called Apex Charts. All right, you can see this. I'll put this link in the video resources. And it's a really great library. I've used it a lot. And they have a candlestick chart that we're going to use. All right, so here's the documentation for the candlestick chart. Basically, we're going to use this XY format. We're going to have a series of data. And the X format for the X-axis is going to be the timestamp. All right. And the Y is basically going to be the open, high, low, and close prices that will go on the candlestick chart. Okay, there's lots of options and customizations that we can do, but this is the basic idea. All right, so we can also look for the chart config. There's all kinds of config that we can pass in. You can read through this documentation more, but that's what we're going to do. And here's all the options that you can pass into a chart. It gets pretty extensive pretty fast, but I have gone ahead and configured the options for our chart so that we don't spend all day just like tweaking things. If you want to customize your chart to your heart's desire, you can certainly do that. I will leave this link in the video resources, and you can play around with Apex charts and tweak the chart however you want to. But I'm going to get you started with a good configuration so that we can just create our candlestick chart here. All right. So I'm going to go into our project and create a new price chart component. So we'll create a new file here. All right, we'll say price chart. All right, and inside of here, I'm just gonna paste in some basic boilerplate code for the component, just like we've done with everything else. Okay, so here's some boilerplate code for the price chart. We've got this price chart component. We've got map set to props. We've already got our spinner in here. I've already imported the chart from Apex Charts. And we've got a show price chart function that we'll call inside of here, okay? In fact, we'll just go ahead and do that. We'll say show price chart. Oops, sorry. I want to do that all caps. Show price chart. And we'll pass in, we'll actually pass in the price chart. So we could say like price chart. It's going to be undefined for now, but we'll do this later. Actually, let's just take it out. Okay. So we'll refactor a lot of this, but this will get us started. So this is where we want to render out the chart from Apex Charts. So like I said, I've already installed Apex Charts with our package.json file that we created in the setup step. We can pull in the chart component like this, okay? And I can just render it out inside of this function by simply, declaring it right here. Say chart, and then we're going to give it some information. It needs some options, and it needs some series. So we'll say options. We're going to fill those in. All right, these are the options that I just mentioned a minute ago. So like these options. And then it needs the series, like I mentioned, this XY series. All right. And then it needs some other info. So I'll say series. It needs a type. This is going to be candlestick. And it needs a width and a height. So width, we'll say 100%. And height, 100%. Sorry. All right. So now let's actually fill in the options and the series. Okay, I'm going to create a new file inside of here. So let's call this pricechart.config.js. And inside of here, I'm just going to create all the options that we want our chart to have, right? So this could get pretty complex pretty fast. Like I said, these options are quite extensive, but I've gone ahead and created some options to get you started. So we'll just do that like this, say boom. All right. So these are the chart options. Oops, sorry. Chart, it's going to tell you, how it works. The animations are enabled. We'll have a toolbar. We won't have a toolbar. Have a width. We'll show the tooltips. We'll configure the x-axis and we'll configure the y-axis. So you could certainly play around with this all day if you wanted to, but I've just gotten you started here. And I'm going to show you some dummy data so that you can sort of, have this seeded for you. I'll just paste in, an XY series that looks like this. Okay, so I'll just paste in like this. Say boom. All right. So here is some dummy data that you can use to fill out the chart, just to make sure that it's working properly. That's what we'll use it for. All right, so inside of here, I'm going to import these like this. We'll say import chart options and dummy data from this price chart config. All right, so we'll say chart options and dummy data. All right, save that. Now let's go back to our app. And then we see nothing because we haven't rendered the component yet. Let's do that. So inside of content, we'll do price chart. Oops. All right. And we'll render it here. So I believe, let's see, it needs to go right after the order book. All right. So here we go. All right. First page. All right, so we got an issue here. Couldn't resolve price chart.config. All right, so we need to call this, let's see here. I might have had an issue naming this. So it looks like I didn't put my price chart.config in the right place. So where did this go? I think I moved it. I think I put this in the project root by mistake. So let's move this file. Let's move it. And then let's put it in source components. All right, now it's in the right place. Sorry about that, guys. Sometimes I hit the wrong command with Sublime Text whenever I'm creating files. So let's go back to our, there we go. There's our price chart. And we can see it's a little smaller than we might expect, but we can fix the styles momentarily. But there we go. That's sort of our smoke test that the price chart's working. If we hover over this, we can see the open, high, low, and close prices, and we can actually see the date on there. All right, that's very cool. Awesome. All right, so now we want to fill this in with real data before we fix the CSS. But let's do that now. All right, and before we continue, I actually realized why the styling looks a little funny. There's this big padding here. I was wondering why. So my mistake, we need to fix this from the earlier part of the boot camp. This is my mistake, but I'll fix it now. It's not a huge deal. Basically, in this index.js file, this bootstrap.css should be loaded before the app. All right, so that's important. Basically, we were overriding some of the styles inside this app.css file with the bootstrap style. So let's save that. Go back to our Exchange, and boom, there we go. We can see this styled appropriately, where we don't have this crazy padding and margin that makes this thing look tiny. Okay, so now the price chart styles are fixed. So let's go on to actually filling this thing out. All right. Now let's create a selector to fill in the price chart, okay? So I'm gonna give some space here, and the first thing we wanna do is just make sure it's loaded, right? So we can show the spinner, and we'll do this. We'll say basically it's loaded if all the filled orders are loaded, just like we've done in pretty much every other component so far. All right, and now we wanna create a selector that formats the price chart. So say export const, price chart selector. And this is going to equal create selector, and we'll pass in all the filled orders. All right, and then we will do this. Okay, so what we want to do there's a lot of stuff we want to do, but basically we want to turn all the filled orders, all the trades, into a series like this, right? We want to get a grouping of each hour, okay? And then build the data like this. All right, so you want to open, high, low, and close price. So let's do it. All right, inside of here, I'm going to first select all the orders and sort them by timestamp. We'll do date ascending, just like we've done several other times. So I'll just paste this in. And now we're going to decorate them with the standard decorator, just like we've done several times. All right. And then now we want to return them down here. Say return series. This will be the series for the graph. And say data. We'll say build graph data. And that's what we'll actually do, say orders. All right. So for now, we're just going to make this data an empty array. So that's what we're doing. So we're basically trying to say a series and data. And now what we're going to do is, generate this based on the filled orders. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and import this selector into our component and log it to the console just so you can watch this data take shape while we're doing it. Sometimes it can be hard to visualize, just by looking at the code. I want to show you sort of step by step how we get it into this format. All right. So let's just do this. This is orders, sorry. All right. So let's go into our price chart. All right, and we'll do map state to props. Let's pull in the selectors like this. Boom. So here's a price chart loaded selector and the price chart selector. And we're going to add those to our map state to props like this. So I got some more space so you can see. It's a price chart loaded and price chart. Okay. And also I'm just going to console log these so that we can watch them take shape. All right, boom. So let's open our console. And we can see this object. So price chart loaded true, and then here's the series, right? So right now it's just an empty array, right? That's what we expect. What we want to do is actually generate that data. So let's go back to our selectors, and I'm going to build this out. So we'll say build graph data, and we'll pass in the orders. All right, so what do we need to do inside here? Well, I would say the first thing that we do is group the orders by the hour. All right, we want to show a time series. We want to show, sorry, I'll go ahead and create build graph data so it stops yelling at me. I'll say const build graph data equals orders. And then I'll just return an empty array right now. But basically what we want to do is, group the orders into a format that's grouped by hour. So each candle is going to be an hour. All right. So that's what we'll do. We'll group by the hour. First, we will say orders equals group by, which we've used already from Lodash, passing the orders. And now we'll say moment, remember, moment.unix, o.timestamp. So this is just converting the timestamp to a Unix timestamp. And we'll say start of hour. All right, and then format. So you can go check out the moment documentation to learn how to use this more. You could do day or some other grouping, right? But I'm going to format it like that. Okay. So I'll say group the orders by hour for the graph. All right, now what I want to do is basically get each hour where there's actually data, right? So get each hour where data exists. We'll say const hours equals object dot keys, say orders. All right. So now we'll say build the graph series. That's how we'll do it right now. And we'll say const graph data equals hours, right? So this is going to be our axis, map, and then hour. And then we're going to build, this XY object here. So basically return a value that looks like this, X will be something, and then Y will be something. So date, the X is actually going to be the hour, so we'll say new date, and pass in this hour. Then the Y is going to be the open, high, low, and close prices. So this will be an empty array for now. I'll fill these in. But this gives you an idea of what we're trying to do. So this is going to be graph data, and we'll return graph data. All right. So basically, we've grouped these by hour. We have gotten all the hours, and we're mapping over each hour as the axis to build the graph data, and we're going to return this XY as a series to the graph, and I will calculate the open, high, low, and close prices inside of here to calculate the open, high, low, and close price. We'll say calculate price values for open, high, low, and close. All right, so let's just refresh the page and see what happened so far. So let's see here. Got an issue. All right. Okay, sorry. It looks like I just had a typo. It's to be start of, not star of. So start of. All right. Let's try that again. Okay. So let's look at this. Pull this up some more so you can see it. All right. So price chart loaded. Here's our price chart. So here's our series. All right. All right. So let's go look at the last one. All right. So it's an array of 1. So that's what we expect. It's all in the same hour. Does that make sense? So we had, whenever we seeded the exchange, we ran these seeds, and these are only like 1 second apart. So we're grouping by hour. We should only expect to see 1 hour on the graph right now. When we go create orders later, we can group by more hours if we have more hours actually passed in time where orders existed. All right. So now we only should expect 1 grouping to return. So inside of here, we can calculate the open, high, low, and close prices like this. All right. So first what we want to do is fetch all the orders from current hour. All right. So we'll say const group. We're going to read these orders. Orders, hour. That's going to go here. So group equals orders that we grouped here, orders by hour. All right. And then, these are in ascending order. So the open is going to be this. Oops, sorry, I got these comments backwards. Let's do this. Const open equals group 0. So the first one is going to be the open. All right, and the closed is likewise going to be the group, say group length -1. So this would be high price, or sorry, first order. And then last order. And we need to put a space here. So how do we get the high and the low price? Okay. Well, we can use Lodash for that. Let's go back to Lodash. We'll say Lodash. And we can see something called max buy. Boom. So max buy is going to find the maximum based on a certain iterate. So that basically just means we can find the max by a certain value. So in our case, we're going to say the token price, say const high equals max by group. We'll say token price. And this will be the high price. Then const low will be min by group token price. All right. So now we have everything we need in order to build our series. Let's say order token price. Sorry, open token price, high token price, low token price, and close token price. All right, that is how we build our time series. So this is all the data we need to build our candlestick chart. All right, let's save this, and we will go back to our browser. All right, so max by and min by are not defined. We need to import them from Lodash. So we'll say max by and min by. All right, go to the bottom here. Save that. All right, looks like it's still working. So I'll pull this up. You can see all orders are loaded. Here's the price chart. Here's the series, and boom, we got real data. Awesome. Here's the X of the new date, and here's the Y with the open, high, low, and close. All right, very cool. All right, so there we go. That's all we need in order to build our graph data. Okay, so there's a little more I want to do. In addition to just showing the data on the graph, what I want to do is actually build a price right here. All right, I want to show the last price, and I want to show whether it was higher or lower. Basically, you know, if it's higher, I want the price to be green like this, and if it's lower, I want it to be red like this. Okay. So I'm going to go to the selectors like this, and I'm going to do that. So inside of here, I'm basically going to get the last price here. So let's do the get last price. And I want to compare it to the one before that. So we'll say get second, or yeah, we'll basically get the last two orders. Get last two orders for final price and price change. That's what we want to do. So we'll say let second last order, and then also last order. Oops. And I'll say second last order and then last order equals. So this is just parallel assignment. I'm just declaring these and I'm assigning them with an array. Something you can do in ES6. It's really nice. Orders slice. All right, so this is going to slice the array. Say orders length minus 2 and orders length. Basically what this does is takes the last two items out of the array and assigns it to second last order and last order. Okay. So now we'll get last order price. All right, we'll say const last price. Get last order. And we'll say token price. Or 0. All right, so same thing for second last order. Say second. Say second last order, and token price, or 0. And now in this return value, I also want to say last price and last price change. All right. So what we want to do is compare the two. Say last price greater than or equal to second last price. Sorry, this is second last price. All right. So if it's greater than or equal to second last price, then we want to have a plus. If it's not, we want to have a minus. All right, now let's actually go to our component and render this out. We'll go to our price chart, and we'll just kill this console log. We don't need this anymore. All right, I'm going to kill this dead space down here, and likewise, I'm actually going to kill the dead space in the selectors as well. All right, do that. So let's show the price chart and render it out. So let's, kind of do this normal pattern when we say this dot props dot price chart loaded. Oh, sorry, loaded. Question mark. We'll say show price chart, and we'll pass in this dot props dot price chart. And if it's not loaded, then we will say spinner. Okay. So here's the price chart, and let's take out the dummy data, and we'll actually get the price chart here. We'll say price chart, and we'll just pass in, let's pass in the series like this. We'll just say series equals price chart dot series. I believe that'll work. All right. All right, let's look. I got an issue here. I have a syntax error. So let's go back to selectors. So let's see here. All right, so here's my issue. I forgot a comma. My fault, guys. Sorry. All right, there we go. It's rendered out to the page. It doesn't look very exciting because it's just 1 hour, but we do see the correct open, high, low, and close prices, right? Here's the open price, the low, high price, low, and close, okay? So it actually did render to the page, but it's just not very exciting because it's only 1 hour, but it's working. Awesome. So you can go create more orders, render seeds multiple times, whatever you want to do. In fact, actually I could do that right now. I could go to well, I'm not going to do it. It might complicate things. I would like to leave things nice and clean. So that works, all right? Now we want to show the price on the page, okay? Let's actually use that last price, and we'll create a new function to do that, okay? Let's say... use a new div. Say div class name equals price. Just price. Close this div. And inside of here, I'll do an H4. All right. And we'll say DAP ETH. That's the market. Do a non-breaking space. And we will use the last price first. We'll just say price chart, last priced. All right, so let's put it out there. Boom, there we go. That was the last price. We can actually confirm that here. Now let's actually show an up or a down triangle based on whether the last price was higher or lower. And we will also basically... we'll color code it. So it'll be red or green depending on the price change. So green like this or red like this. All right. I'm going to do that with an HTML entity. You can see those here. Basically, these are just, symbols that we can print out with HTML. And we have triangles. And I'm going to use those triangles to indicate the price change. Okay, so I'll put a link to this in the resources as well. All right. So let's... inside of here, basically create a function to do this for us because it's going to get kind of messy if we try to do it all in line. Basically, after this, let's just copy this. All right, do it again. And then for this one, let's say price symbol. And we'll pass in the last price change. Last price change. All right, so we added this to our selector. Now let's basically just create a way to return that. I'll just pass in a new function like this. Boom. So price symbol is basically just going to evaluate the last price change. If it was positive, we're going to generate some output. That's going to be a span tag of success. And we use an HTML entity to create a green upward triangle. And if it's not, we will use an HTML entity to create a red downward triangle. All right. So let's save that, go back to our browser, and we can see that it worked. Awesome. So the price change is positive. We can verify that it's consistent, and it was this price. It is pointing up. Awesome, and it's green. So there we go. That is a complete price chart. All right, so let me just check to make sure there's nothing else we missed inside of here. No, looks good, looks good. All right, so we have successfully filled out pretty much all the boilerplate data or all the pre-seeded data that we generated from the seeds. You know, we've listed out the entire order book. We've shown all the trades. We generated the price chart. We show all of our own transactions, our trades, our filled orders. We've done a lot of work. So you should really congratulate yourself at this point. Give yourself a pat on the back. Yeah, this has been a slog, but you're going to become such a strong blockchain developer by the end of this bootcamp. So hang on, and we'll catch you in the next video where we start filling out some of these other components and start like actually triggering transactions in the blockchain. We're going to like cancel our orders and create new orders and deposit funds and all kinds of stuff. Make trades. We got a little bit of work left to do, but now we're getting to some of the more exciting parts. So I'll catch you in the next video.